Oh my God, it happened. It finally happened. Jey Uso has turned on Roman Reigns. I was not expecting that when we started watching this episode of SmackDown.
Nope.
But hot damn, have we got potentially the biggest SmackDown angle we have seen all year. I'm Tempest, hailing from partsFUNknown here on the WrestleTalk Podcast channel, and I'm joined by the wonderful and lovely Sat-E Nyangi, and he's here to tell you what day it is.
It is Sat-E Day, and it is approximately Sat-E time.
Sat, what's causing all this?
I like to use my own line. What's causing all this? The bloodline seemed to finally, and I mean finally, explode, disintegrate. That thing that Thanos done, they dissipated right in front of us.
They all got dusted.
Yes. Like, when they did the whole thing about there's going to be announcement or choice, we did not expect them to actually go through with it and actually give us what we've been waiting for. Jey Uso finally coming to his senses. But you can argue he's always had his senses, but he was scared to use them.
We will see. We will get into this entire SmackDown review, including the review of the Bloodline crumbling, finally. But make sure, of course, that you leave a comment down below, give a thumbs up to this video, subscribe to the WrestleTalk Podcast channel if you haven't already, because we have a lot to get into here. The main event segment, of course.
Wait, Fusion. Who? Powering up.
Got to hold on to my lovely belt here.
It looks wonderful. Jam that champion, the one and only, the undisputed champion, Tempest Canada, from House of the Black Mask. The house has a champion. You're our champion. You're the champion of WrestleTalk. You're the champion of this room.
I appreciate you very much, my friend. So the first mention of this whole bloodline thing on this show came early on when Roman Reigns was sat backstage and he was talking with Paul Heyman. And Paul Heyman was saying, my tribal chief, have you spoken to Jey? He's very clearly worried about his place in the bloodline. And Roman says, I'm the tribal chief. Jey needs to come talk to me. I'm not going to reach out to Jey. Jey's got to reach out to me.
Yeah.
Paul, go find Jey. Go talk to Jey. And Paul Heyman is not entirely down for this, but he does it. He goes. Later on in the show, you've got Jey and Paul backstage, and they're both half-assed, apologizing to one another. Paul's saying, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I was right. I'm sorry that Jimmy kicked you in the face just like he kicked Roman in the face. He did both of those intentionally. He meant to kick you in the face. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that he ruined your chance to become United States champion last week. And Jey says, oh, gee, I'm sorry too. I'm sorry that it's still me or you in the bloodline. And Paul Heyman walks off. We then get Paul Heyman going back to Roman Reigns later in the show and just saying, no. And then Roman stands up and Solo Sikoa takes a few steps forward and Paul Heyman's like, whoa.
Yeah, that was funny.
Because he's shook. He knows that when you cross Solo Sikoa, you get got. But Roman Reigns is like, no. It's all right. It's all right. You don't need to do that. And Solo's like, all right, I'm going to chill. I'm going to sit back, let you do your thing. And then we got Jey Uso walking to the ring, and he crosses Sami Zayn. And at first I was like, Jesus Christ, are we doing this again? But it was just a lot more subtle. They just kind of shared a look and then went on their separate ways. So, all right, points for subtlety. Because then we got this segment. Roman Reigns comes down to the ring, says acknowledge me, does his shtick. And then Jey comes out. And Jey starts asking, all right, who's it going to be? Is it going to be me or is it going to be Paul? And Roman tells him, listen, that's not how things work around here. This isn't the bloodline's wise man. This is my wise man. This isn't the wise man for you. You don't get to make the decision of whether the wise man's in the bloodline. The wise man isn't in the bloodline. The wise man advises me. When you're the tribal chief, you get to choose who advises you. You get to pick your own wise man, but for right now, Paul Heyman is my wise man. So Jey's getting all upset, and then Jimmy comes out, and Jimmy says that this is a problem, not with me, not with your brother, with your cousin. It's always been about him. Gets into the ring, and he starts saying he's manipulating you, all the things, the Roman Reigns problems. And Roman starts going in on Jimmy, saying he was the one that was holding you down. Y'all took 10 years to get to WrestleMania, which is true.
Yeah, sad. That is actually very sad.
Yeah. Well, not exactly true. I think it was 8 years.
It was 8 years. Pre-showed for 8 years.
Yeah.
That is crazy if you think about it.
Tag titles got no love on WrestleMania.
Nope.
But he says, now you're main eventing WrestleMania by my side. But Jay, I don't understand why you're mad at me for. We made you the right-hand man. Paul Heyman, the wise man, that was his idea. And who was the one person who opposed that? It was your brother. It was Jimmy. It was him. And so now Jay turns, and now he's getting all worked up. And you could say maybe this was to catch Roman off guard, because otherwise it doesn't make a ton of sense, which I'm sure we'll get into. Jey Uso says, like, is it true? Is it true? This is what I've been hearing my whole life. You know, Joshua, listen to your big brother. Joshua, do this. Joshua, do that. Jay's real name, of course, is Joshua. And he says, is that true? And Jimmy says, yes. And so Jay gets all upset and said, all right, you're out. There's a long pause. He says, and I'm out too. And he turns and super kicks Roman. Super kicks Roman Reigns. This moment that's been built up to for 3 years finally paid off. Here on SmackDown, surprisingly. I thought this would have been like Money in the Bank or SummerSlam maybe. Like, this is a real big angle, and they've done it here on SmackDown. So that's not a bad thing. I was just surprised. And the Usos both super kick Roman. Roman gets up. He's like, you gonna hit me? He's getting real worked up. And then he gets double super kicked, and he sells it like death. He goes down like he gets shot. And he goes down, and the Usos leave, and they're doing the We the Ones, and they're all pumped up. And now it's the Usos against Roman and Solo. Those are the battle lines drawn. The bloodline as we know it is over. All that's left is Roman, Solo, and Paul. What do you make of all of this, Sat?
Many things. First of all, did you think, or I guess we were thinking that they were gonna drag out Jay being conflicted all the way to Money in the Bank?
I certainly thought so.
And then at Money in the Bank, this segment had done, it would be truncated because, you know, there's a lot of talking time. It would have like Jay would have pulled the trigger at Money in the Bank. That's what the initial speculation, right?
Could have done.
Could have done
that segment playing out in front of the really lively London crowd. I could see it.
Well, I'm actually happy they did it on the SmackDown because the simple fact it gives more of a reason for us wanting to see the tag team match. Mm-hmm. It would have been annoying because it would have played out the same way like we've seen the last few months of confliction. Now we're finally getting the battle lines that have been formed. We're finally getting the fight we've wanted. The Usos finally getting getting back at Roman Reigns for all the stuff that he's done to them. What I enjoyed, it was in a way a full circle moment because the talking points mentioned in the segment were talking points that were brought up when Jimmy first came back. Mm-hmm. So we talked about in the office how I found the part where Jay goes to Jimmy, you didn't want me to be right-hand man? Kind of annoying because that's the first thing Jimmy said when he came back is, what is this? Right-hand man, who are you? What's going on, man? That's not you.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly a secret.
It wasn't a secret, yeah. So the whole, you didn't want this from me? It's like, yeah. That's why, you know, Jimmy had nobody's bitch t-shirt because there's a play on the right-hand man t-shirt. Like, we all know this. So that part was, like you said, it must have been to catch Roman off guard because it doesn't make sense for Jay at that point to be like, you doubted me? And more points were mentioned because Jay said that he wasn't trying to ever compete with Roman in terms of like in the bloodline or even in life. The person that he's been trying to keep up with is Jimmy. So Jay is saying that he looks up to Jimmy. Like Jimmy's always been the standard bearer in the family. He's the older brother. He was the prom prince, the prom king, the most likely to succeed in their high school. So Jay mentioned that part in the promo, which is the set in ground to understand that this whole time Jay, I guess, I never really thought of it in that way, that Jay looks up to Jimmy and then Roman usurped that position to be his, I guess, surrogate big brother, his uncle, because in real life, Roman Reigns is actually the Usos' uncle, but you can do your research on Google to connect the reason why. Yes.
It's like a weird cousin.
Rosie, who is Roman's brother, is our uncle to the Usos. Rikishi is more first blood cousin is Rikishi and Roman. So that makes them second.
Yeah, it's like a second, or it's a cousin once removed, or a
so I
first cousin, second cousin, something like that.
They are cousins, but the thing is, because the Usos made a joke that they call him Unc, because it's more like the direct lineage of where he comes from, his dad. So that's what they call him. They made a joke, but yeah, it is more like first cousin once removed. That's what it's called. But the Usos, they did an interview. They said they used to call Roman their uncle, just to make fun of him and have jokes with it. But yeah, back to what I was saying. Yeah, so Jay's been trying to keep up with Jimmy, and then when Jimmy got injured, he said that was a blessing in disguise because Jay got to be main event Jey Uso. He did break out to the point where you're thinking, hey, Vince McMahon doesn't like tag team wrestlers. Could the Usos break up? But as we've seen time and time again, the Usos would rather choose to be a tag team forever than to branch out for single stardom. So Jay chose Jimmy over what Roman was offering. It's almost like the Faust deal, the bargaining. Join me. You can become future tribal chief, because that's what Roman mentioned in the segment. Like, I've been grooming you for 3 years. So Roman said, I got us to the promised land. You are meant to keep us in the promised land. Those are key points that Roman was using on Jay. And then Jimmy said, you're going to fall for that crap because it's obviously manipulation. Roman will use whatever gesture it takes to keep Jay on board, because Jay's been valuable in keeping him on top throughout the whole entire record-breaking reign. Jay has been there for Roman, so Roman needs him. But now, of course, as we've seen, it's split up or broken up. But see, I like the segment. I like that it was a full circle moment, because they did go back to the issues they had beforehand, so they had to basically wrap that up. But yeah, great performance all around. The only nitpicky thing was the whole when Jay confronted Jimmy. But again, the question is, how long has Jimmy or Jay decided that he was going to leave the bloodline? Was this a setup, or was this an impromptu, spontaneous, action?
I think it's going to be very interesting to see where we go next as well, because I would really enjoy if the next chapter of this in some way shows why this wasn't such like an easy decision to make. Like, I want to see the consequences of the Usos turning on the tribal chief. Like, maybe now we can start getting the extended members of the family involved in this and be like, no, you don't make that decision. You know, there's a reason that Roman is doing this. There's a reason that he's the tribal chief. And maybe they don't necessarily have the backing of the family doing something like that. Like, it could just be very interesting. Because to me, it's always like, yeah, you cross the mob boss that is treating you wrong and everything. But then you find out why that's a bad idea. Like, you get to see that, like, oh, no, he's going to, take away your family and put a horse's head in your bed and etc.
You're saying that that's what's been missing from... You know what? That has been missing from the storyline, because we hear a lot by the elders. We hear a lot by the extended family. It would have been great at least once if we had them on the show to show the magnitude of what Roman's doing, because we hear why Roman is doing it, but you can also think he's been hyperbolic, and it's like he's deluded. But we have to see a table. It would have been great to see a table where Roman's sitting at the head of it with his family around. A segment with him and his family. That would have been great. Heck, you're right. Next week it could be he brings Rikishi to penalize the twins for kicking their cousin in the face, and that you acknowledge your tribal chief because Solo's done it. You need to do it too. It'd be great if they can manage to up the level of manipulation. That would be chef's kiss. But all around, the storyline's been great.
Yeah. I totally agree. But let us know what you think about the Jey Uso turn on Roman Reigns in the comments down below. Let us know. We will get through the rest of our SmackDown review in the meantime. But this was a very monumental thing. Really like the crux of the whole Bloodline story that like we've always been waiting for this one specific turn. What's Jey Uso going to do? And now it's finally happened. Now we can see where they go next. It's an exciting time.
The question was always what would be the tipping point?
Yeah.
And the tipping point has always been his kryptonite, his reason for being is his twin brother, older brother. That's what gets me. There's only minutes apart, but anyway, yeah, his brother. He's his brother's keeper. That's what he is.
Yeah. So, we kicked off
I'm my brother's keeper. Oh, wow.
My head! Oh, God, I'm bald.
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
House of the Black Mask.
I'm so sorry, champ.
Go Spurs. Anyway. I don't care for the Spurs. It's just a black hat. Anyway, we open SmackDown with the Gauntlet match to determine new #1 contenders for the tag team titles. Now, I won't complain too much about this, because I get it. We had other things to get through on this show. You can't exactly do what they've done in the past where half the show is taken up with a gauntlet match. And again, it's much easier to do that on Raw. Like that one gauntlet match where Seth Rollins went nuts, wrestled for like an hour and 10 minutes or whatever. Yeah. It's a lot easier to do that when you have 3 hours of show. Mm-hmm. Harder to do that with only 2. But that being said, there were 6 teams in this gauntlet match. And this match was about 15 minutes.
Long.
Which means 5 teams got beat in 15 minutes. That's like a team losing every 3 minutes on average.
There you go, maths.
That's like the old Survivor Series matches where guys were just like, it was the Divas matches really, where it's like the match got 6 minutes and there was only 2 people left at the end, so 8 people had to get eliminated in 6 minutes. Madness.
Madness. Indeed.
Absolute madness. So that's basically what we got here. There were a lot of short matches. And matches that you think might be fun, like the Brawling Brutes and LWO, basically got no time here.
Nope.
This really was an avenue for them to do what they love to do, which is have the team that starts go on a run and beat a bunch of teams in a row and then lose to the person that comes out last. That's how WWE likes to do a lot of their gauntlet matches, and that's what we got here. Because Sheamus and Ridge Holland started, and they went 2-on-2 with the Street Profits, and this was probably the most match that we got out of this, maybe the end, but they went back and forth, and then Sheamus caught, I think it was Dawkins
yeah.
with a bro kick and pinned him, and that was it. And all the teams were out on the floor. They were all at ringside, like waiting their turns so that we didn't have to wait for entrances and such. That's fine. The OC were next. They went in. And again, not very long. They got a little bit of offense in, taking advantage of Sheamus and Ridge being tired. But then Carl Anderson went up on the turnbuckle and posed and turned around and ate a brogue kick. And that was it. He was done. That's another team gone. And then we got the LWO getting into the ring, and they hit a dive. They were like, yeah, excitement. And then they got beat. And then Hit Row came in, and Top Dollar immediately eats a brogue kick and gets eliminated. So, absolute buried. Like, they're a jobber tag team at this point, is what it is. But that left the last tag team to get involved, and that was Pretty Deadly. There were some fun things about this match as well. The finish of this one wasn't necessarily as creative as the other weeks that we've seen from Pretty Deadly, but it was still a heel finish that was pretty good because you had both guys getting the Sheamus clubbering blows over the ropes, and one of them dropped down, and then as the other one was draped over the ropes that way, Sheamus went to pick him up and hit the high cross, but as his feet were dangling there, the other one hit the hot tag.
Elton Prince.
That one, Elton John, yeah. Shout out to the AEW Collision theme song. Gets the hot tag, hits the high cross, gets hit with a leg drop off the top rope, and that's the finish. So they get the win. This was, I think, pretty obvious in terms of a finish. The right finish, I think.
Yes.
To have these guys be the ones to go into London.
Yes, boy.
And get a tag team title shot.
Yes,
I think it'll be a good match between them and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And after the match, Pretty Deadly are still celebrating, and KO and Sami Zayn come out to interrupt them because they're like, listen, you guys won your match 5 minutes ago, and you're still in the ring, which means you have been celebrating for 5 minutes too long. And then they go on a thing. You want to say all the things that they said? Because you can do it better than I.
Yes. Elton Prince, the blonde one. Kit Wilson is the brunette one. Kit Wilson was saying, yes, boy, while Elton Prince says they are the Killer Queens. The Dandy Highwaymen, the Brothers in Garm. Oh, you have to do the yes, boy, actually. Let's do this again. They're the Killer Queens.
Yes, boy.
Dandy Highwaymen.
Yes, boy.
The Brothers in Garm.
Yes, boy.
The two tastiest snacks. Yes, boy. And they said that when they win, they're going to celebrate even longer. And when they still in the ring, they're going to be there even longer.
And this segment went on even longer.
And then KO.
Yeah, they got tired of this, and they ran down to the ring to clear them out. And this is going to be your tag team title match for Money in the Bank.
Yes, boy.
Solid enough stuff, honestly. Any extended thoughts on this opening thing? You're a bigger Pretty Deadly fan than I am.
They grew on me. Listen, when they started NXT, I was like, oh, they remind me of like the Beverly Brothers or something. They're like a throwback to like the new generation tag teams we used to have in the WWF. But yeah, for me, they're a breath of fresh air. They're very entertaining. It's very throwback. It's great to see a tag team like that. They very much are cowardly heels, but I do feel like their delivery on the microphone is really, really good, and it's gone better. Elton Prince had a more serious tone when he was delivering, when he's cutting his promo, because he was making fun of Sami Zayn's hair, because Sami Zayn's hair was where he goes, "We've beat 5 other tag teams, and my hair is still intact in a good condition. What's up with your hair?" And it was very, for me, I felt like they did well in the segment because they were going bar for bar against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, who are known as great microphone, microphone checkers, microphone wreckers, and Pretty Deadly did fine there. I feel like they got great potential there. They're entertaining tag team. For me, it's better than those, above average teams will get who got no charisma. When you look at Pretty Deadly, you're like, yep, they're ready made. You can even put the tag team titles on them right now. They shouldn't. As much as it will pop in London, I want KO and Sami Zayn to have this legendary run that goes all the way to next year WrestleMania. But yeah, my views is that the right team won the match. The fact that Street Profits lost in the beginning, there's been rumors that Street Profits are turning heel. So this could also contribute to their downfall and their frustrations, which eventually makes them get angry. LWL, I feel like outside of Santos, Escobar, and Zelina, Cruz Del Toro and Joaquin Wilde, they need to do more in terms of enhancing their personality, because at the moment they're just 2 babyface tag teams that do high-flying stuff and like, yes, cheer for us because we're LWO too. That's what it feels like for me at the moment. And with the OC, I keep saying it, it's like they're here to collect another paycheck, guys, because I think they're checked out. I think they know. I don't know, it's weird. You'd think that because of their credentials of New Japan and everything else they've done, they'll be in a bigger spot in tag team wrestling, but I feel like because the chokehold of the Usos and the Street Profits or whatever, they've never really reached that level. So OC for me is just a tag team that's in there, it's just another body, just here to collect another paycheck. And the Brawling Brutes, Sheamus, he's got nothing to do right now, so he has to team up with Rich Holland. So that was their way of protecting him in a way. They don't want him to lose quickly, especially when he's not really that much of a tag team guy nowadays in the Brawling Brutes because he's the leader. But yeah, great performance there. But at the end of the day, oh my gosh, Top Dollar, Ashanti Diodonis, hit row. What are we gonna do? We thought that if a heel run doesn't work, what do you do? But yeah, yes, boy. That's what I got to say.
My big takeaway from this is I want to give WWE credit for actually doing something with Pretty Deadly, like pretty much immediately upon their main roster arrival. That, to me, is a big step up from a lot of the other people that have been called up. Like, Cameron Grimes is just floating around, getting attacked by Baron Corbin. We'll get to that. But he's done nothing. Grayson Waller's just been a talk show host since he got on SmackDown. But Pretty Deadly have been consistently pushed since arriving and are now going to be in a big pay-per-view title match in their first pay-per-view match. Mm-hmm. That, to me, is so much better at establishing them as potential stars on the main roster than they've done with, like, anyone else. I can't think of anybody else who's even come close to this amount of push. So, big thumbs up for that.
And it is my mission to make sure that Tempest knows their names.
Good luck.
Listen, all I can say is think of Elton John, and think Prince. Elton, Prince, and the Blondie. Just think of those 3 musicians, and you remember it's the blonde one. Say Elton, Prince, Blondie, and you remember it's Elton, Prince.
Elton John is blonde.
There you go. That's close enough. Elton John and Prince are blonde. Kit Wilson is the
Prince
other one.
wasn't blonde.
And just say just think Kit Wilson is brunette.
Kit Wilson?
That's his name, Kit Wilson.
Kit Harington is brunette.
There you go. See?
I guess that does make it easier.
Yeah, that's how I remembered Elton Prince, by the way. But I said Elton Prince is Blondie. And then when I see him, I'm like, Elton Prince is Blondie. And I said, Kit Wilson, because Wilson sounds generic.
I feel like there's a song going on in your head at all times.
Well,
like there's just a tune playing.
It's a Pretty Deadly song. Their new song is incredible. I love it. It's like a British talk show song. It's incredible. Yeah, Pretty Deadly. I'm all in. I ain't gonna lie. When they first started NXT, I found them annoying, but they won me over because they are too tasty snack on SmackDown. Yes, boy. I like the talk they do, and in slow motion.
Welcome to Snack Ass. So, after that, we had Roman Reigns backstage with Paul Heyman, as we've already spoke about. And then we got Iyo Sky and Zelina Vega. And they did an inset promo where they were all talking in the locker room backstage. And Zelina Vega says that they're going to wrestle tonight and you're going to show why you shouldn't underestimate me. And I have to be honest, I am officially annoyed by Zelina Vega talking about people underestimating her. Because I'm pretty sure every time I've heard her speak since Backlash, it has been that people are underestimating her.
Are you annoyed that she's become one note?
A little bit. Like
She is. It is. They flanderized her.
Yeah.
Into being, you are smart. So talk about people underestimating you, and which is sad. I do feel like it's the motive they give them.
Yeah.
We know for a fact she can do more, but it's just like, you're a babyface now, so all the interesting traits you had before the hand, chuck it to the bin. You have to be relatable. How do you be relatable? Well, people relate to underdogs. Just be more under. Nah, you're not enough under. Be more under. Be more dog. Yes, underdog. So yeah, she's an underdog.
Yeah. However, in this match, she did get underestimated, I suppose, because this again was a short match, and Zelina Vega got rolled up by Iyo. Pardon me. And Bayley just happened to be distracting the referee at the time, so Iyo got a visual pin over Zelina, but the referee wasn't there to count it. So she's yelling, "Ref! Ref!" And then Zelina kicks out. And Iyo turns around, goes to Bayley, is like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And Bayley's like, "Oh, I was just trying to help." And then as Iyo stuck her head through the ropes to talk to her, Zelina hits the 619 and gets the pin.
Biggest win that she's had thus far.
Yeah, I mean, she was like the Queen's Crown winner, but like that didn't really mean anything.
That led to her being in a tag team with Carmella.
Sure
that
did.
victory led to her being in a tag team, not shot straight to the main event or anything like that. That victory didn't do anything for her. If anything, is another accolade they can bring up in a Hall of Fame speech.
Yeah. So this was pretty much all the match was. Backstage after the match, Bayley and Iyo were arguing, and Shotzi came up and said, "Oh, Bayley, you cost me my spot in the Money in the Bank match. I'd be in Money in the Bank if it wasn't for you." And she's like, "Well, why don't you put your spot, Bayley, in Money in the Bank on the line in a match against me?" And Bayley's like, "Oh, why would I do that? Sorry." And Iyo just says, "She accepts." Shotzi walks off, says, "I'm going to go talk to Adam Pearce." And Bayley was like, "Why would you do that?" And Io's like, "I'm just trying to help."
You know, the way you describe Shotzi just made me realize they have not nailed Shotzi's character on the main roster.
You don't say.
On NXT, she was seen as this cool alternative chick. There's, you know what? She was never like overexposed, but they did like segments where it just highlighted her personality. She didn't even talk a lot. They did segments. I remember that Halloween Havoc where she was the host of it. They did things where it made her feel special, and then they put her on the main roster, and then they haven't known how to use her. They're giving her a character that goes against how she looks. She should be someone that it should be an antithesis of like a Charlotte Flair, if that makes sense. They're just giving her like the best friend, you know, like the girl next door, the best friend, the one that they give her like, you know, this person never wins, or basically she's Natalia for SmackDown. That is the character they've given her, and that is a shame because they can do a lot more with Shotzi. Yes, her in-ring IQ is not as high as most wrestlers, but what she does have is personality. But you've yet to see it. If your first exposure to Shotzi's SmackDown or her times on Raw, I'm sorry, because she's done much better on NXT. There's so much more to her than what we're seeing. I just want to say that.
Yeah, this is the thing, because like just looking at this segment, my initial thought is like, well, it certainly seems like Bayley's going to put her spot on the line and then lose, and it'll be like, oh, further dissension between Iyo and Bayley. I don't want to see Shotzi in the ladder match over Bayley.
I assume that Bayley actually wins. It's kind of haha. See, that's why
I
I'm the leader.
hope so.
That's why I'm the leader.
I'm crossing my fingers. Speak it into existence.
Well, I feel like it's gonna be like the condescending thing. Thanks, friend, for putting me in that match. I knew I can do it. Thanks for doing that for me. That kind of thing. And then Iyo probably does an eye roll maybe, or kind of like, oh, drats.
Yeah, we'll see. But I would much rather that than the thing I said. So we then had Bianca Belair backstage, and she is with Adam Pearce, and she's talking about how, like, listen, I'm going to get this rematch, because he was just like, oh, listen, there's nothing I can do, which I hate that. I hate that.
Can we talk about it? Can we talk about why we hate that?
Talk to me.
Let me talk to you. Adam Pearce has this issue. It's there's three people in his life that he can't stand up to. Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and Charlotte Flair. So he can't stand up to three people, but everyone else is a no. I still remember to this day that he suspended Bobby Lashley over the most stupidest thing. But when it comes to like Charlotte Flair, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, he can't do anything. His arms are tied. He gives every excuse under the sun where he can't do anything. But if someone like Bianca Belair, who deserves, even though they did say rematches don't count in WWE anymore, again, the goalpost changes, the rules changes every week, every year, who knows? Bianca Belair deserves a rematch for a title that she did lose. The actual title has been evolved to something else. Charlotte's title is on Raw. So I don't understand it. Yeah, Adam Pearce, I don't like that he's two-faced. He's a hypocrite. He doesn't stick to his own rule. He breaks it for some people. That's my annoyance with the character. Even though, for me, personally, I do think he's a good authority figure, even though I did say all that, because he does not overextend his welcome. He doesn't make the show about him. He's just there to put matches together and goes about his business.
And he's got a dirty ass. So we then had Grayson Waller talking with Charlotte Flair. The Grayson Waller effect.
Grayson Waller dressing like Sa'i.
Yeah, boy. Stealing your drip.
Oh, listen. He can steal it if he wants to, but as long as you state the sources, be happy.
So I think we have moved past the need for heel talk show segments. Because gone are the days of the Roddy Pipers and Chris Jerichos and everything. Because the great ones were the highlight reel where Jericho would go out there and just do improv with whoever his guest was. Because he was a very entertaining, good off the cuff kind of character. Same thing with Roddy Piper, obviously, back in the day. These are not the same thing. I've had far too many SmackDowns tainted with happy talk or with now the Grayson Waller effect. Thank God I don't watch Raw and I'd have to see Miz TV and stuff. But they're all the same. They're all the same. It's just a heel being given the same bullet points to do some lame comedy. And this was pretty much that. I don't know how much a comedy it was necessarily, but he asked Charlotte if she's going to win. She says that she's got Asuka's number, and they do some woo stuff, and their timing was kind of off. They were kind of tripping over each other, and just it wasn't there.
You know what? Usually I'm known as the kind of person that gives things a chance, and I'm not in the business of burying things. This was the worst Grayson Waller effect episode on the main roster thus far.
That's old. That AJ Styles one sucked.
No, see that AJ Styles one, at least Grayson Waller was being antagonistic. In this one, they made him portray like he was a school kid who had a crush on his teacher. And he could not control himself around her. He was shy around her. He was bashful around her. And it just didn't work. And it also seemed like it was like an awkward first date kind of thing where there's no flow, no chemistry to the conversation. There's no flow to the conversation. So that's what Tempest is describing. If it was any other week, I would defend talk shows, but I can't defend what we watch because thank goodness Bianca Belair came out.
And so she did. Bianca Belair interrupts this segment, comes down, and this promo segment was actually pretty good. I thought Bianca did a very good job.
She smashed it.
Charlotte, I have a lot of gripes with as a character because I use the word character very loosely because she doesn't have one. But this segment I thought was good because Bianca comes out there and says that she was going to get her rematch the right way, but Charlotte cut in line.
Yeah.
Went about things the way that Charlotte does. And Charlotte says, listen, I didn't campaign for this. I didn't politic for this.
Wow.
The line starts and ends with me. I am the line. With whatever. Okay. She says that Charlotte says that she is a champion with or without a title. But can Bianca say that? And Bianca says, I was the longest reigning women's champion of the modern era. Put some respect on my name.
No, she said that she was the longest reigning champion. Didn't need 14 times to try for that. Just didn't need 14 times to do that. That was the main crux because that's a weird burn. Hey, have you lost 14 times like I have? No. I've actually kept it for quite a while.
Yeah.
That was the crux of the promo, yeah. Put some respect on that.
And it is really funny. It is the classic example of let's stat pad this person with lots of title reigns, because add up all of the times that Charlotte, like all the days Charlotte's been champion, it's not that many. At least nowhere near what you would think it would be, because there's a lot of like 1 day, 2 day, cashed in on the same day, few week, maybe a month reigns.
Padded.
Very few lengthy title reigns. It's just like that first one where she held the Divas title and then the women's title. And if you count that all as one reign, it was like 10 months or something like that. I don't think she's ever come close to anything that long again. Maybe I'm wrong, but regardless, point made. Bianca says, put some respect on her name. Bianca says she didn't leave when she lost her title like Charlotte did. And Charlotte says that she lost her title to Rhea and she didn't get a rematch. It's a different championship.
I know. I'm gonna let you finish the recap and then I'll say my piece. But yeah, continue as you will, sir.
Bianca says that she's going to be at ringside for the title match in 2 weeks. And this completely leads me to believe that we're going to get a triple threat match at Money in the Bank, because that match will probably end with some tomfoolery, a DQ finish or something. And then we'll get a triple threat, which will probably be very good, because that sounds like a really good combination of stars who work well together.
I actually assume that it may be a triple threat, but the alternative option is, if Bianca plays a part in Charlotte not winning the title, that Bianca will get her rematch on Money in the Bank and Charlotte will return the favor. Yeah. And in SummerSlam, you got both of them fighting, not for the title, so Asuka can face Iyo Sky for the title.
If that means that you get Charlotte and Bianca in a non-title match at SummerSlam, just one-on-one, and then Asuka can face someone else, I think that works brilliantly.
That's why, like, I was speaking to Philip Lindsay of Grapsody about this, because he, like everyone else, is doing a prayer circle hoping that Asuka's current reign is not a transitional one. It's like they didn't transition Bianca without the title so Charlotte can get it and Bianca chase her for months, possibly. I don't know. This segment, this is my gripe with Charlotte's part of the segment. I've said it before and I say it again. Charlotte Flair, the in-ring performer, is fantastic. Charlotte Flair, the character, what the heck? So my issue is
ass
crack. So she undermined her points in the same promo. She said, I am champion with or without the title. Cool, prove it without the title. Can you be champion without the title, with or without the title? I'm like, they made a hypocrite. I didn't politic my way into it. There was a recap video of her coming out to someone's championship celebration, not to congratulate her, not to say, hey champ, this is great. I hope down the line some point, I know the title that I lost is on another show, but I would like an opportunity. No, she went, I am the line. The line starts with me. That for me feels like she demanded an opportunity. So I don't know, because it's kind of like, they're in politics. Politics is like she went and conspired with someone. No, but she basically shot a shot in front of everyone and she got what she wanted. She is entitled. She was entitled about that. And then when she talked about she was 14 times champion, have you done what I've done? Again, in reality, bragging about how much times you've lost a title, and like you said, it doesn't, the accumulated days when you put it together, it doesn't even stack up well. There's so much about the character they get wrong, and that's meant to be a baby face. It kind of reminds me of a later period of the character of John Cena, where they'll get so much things wrong about the babyface character. Yeah, so with Charlotte, you got an unbearable babyface who you can't relate, because the whole point of being a babyface sometimes, not all the time, is the crowd should be able to relate to you. You can't relate to Charlotte because you don't know who Charlotte is without the title. At some point last year, I felt like the closest we got to Charlotte evolving was last year when she called herself the Opportunity, when she started dressing up like Disney villain princesses. I enjoyed that part. At least that, it seemed like they were trying to evolve the character more than being the queen. Because we talked about in the past, all the other horsewomen have evolved. All the other horsewomen, when they debuted the main roster, the characters they had has been evolved. Heck, even Sasha Banks is now gone to another. She's gone out to the world. She's the CEO. She ain't the boss anymore. Ronda Rousey tries stuff. She tries face paint.
Hell of an example.
Alexa Bliss gets spooky from time to time. You know what I'm saying? Nikki Cross, she's a superhero sometimes. She's sometimes kooky. Natalya, because you don't watch Raw. Natalya recently lost on Raw, and she said she doesn't know who she is, and she can't beat Natalya anymore. She doesn't know who she is, and she walked away. That for me was a tease that we're finally going to get an evolution of Natalya. If we don't, I let Tempest know. It's a running joke. He doesn't watch Raw. I watch glimpses of Raw, and I inform him. But yeah, Charlotte, same old stuff.
So there's a few things here for me.
Yes, sir.
Bianca Belair in this segment, it's so funny to me because people were starting to get real tired of Bianca Belair as champion.
Yeah.
And to me, it's 100% because of the presentation they do with babyface champions.
Amen.
They are incapable, seemingly, of having a babyface champion stay interesting, to give them a character to go along with that title reign. They've been able to do it with heel champions because Roman Reigns, of course, has a very good character right now. And they just can't seem to do the same thing when it is a babyface champion. And then they take the title off Bianca, and immediately she is 10 times as interesting. And it doesn't take that much work to just make a character like that interesting when it is someone like Bianca Belair who has a character, who has shown that she's very good at portraying herself as this confident, maybe cocky, but the NXT version of Bianca Belair, the very early days main roster version of Bianca Belair. We have seen it, and now we're seeing it again, so there's no reason why her as champion couldn't have had that same edge to her. And I guarantee you, if she had that, there would be so many less people who would have gotten tired of that title reign. That being said, praise and whatnot of Bianca Belair to one side. Charlotte Flair. I pretty much just want to piggyback off of what you said, because I find it just infuriating watching this character. And again, I use the word character very loosely. Because yes, I think Charlotte Flair is on the short list of the best big match women's wrestlers of all time.
Facts.
You see her match with Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania, it's impossible to argue otherwise. She, as a character, is appallingly bad. You cannot tell me what the difference is between Charlotte Flair's character in 2023 and what it was in 2016. Yeah. There's nothing.
No evolution.
No difference whatsoever.
No development.
And the only time I can recall of her not being involved in the championship picture in a rivalry was against Lacey Evans. And it was, haha, your dad has gotten me pregnant, maybe, but we're not going to say that. That's the only one I can think of. And it was also bad, so I'm not taking that as a positive example. She doesn't have a character if she's not a champion. And that's why when she comes back, it's immediately back into the title picture. If you would just put her in a rivalry, just give her a chance to tell a story. Like, what? I guess the only other one I can maybe think of is when she wrestled Trish at SummerSlam that one time. And that's still, like, it wasn't a great shift in character, but at least it gave her something to wrestle for that wasn't a title. It was wrestling this legend and establishing where she lands on the pecking order. I just can't get on board with this.
As a babyface too,
especially not as a babyface.
It would work as a heel. Like I think
I would still be tired of it as a heel. Don't get me wrong, but like as a babyface, it is so appalling.
I think they in their mind is like, oh, she's an overachiever. I think another thing that kind of gripes me a bit is her character is basically a take of her dad's character, right down to how many title reigns, which is a bit. It's kind of like if Natalya. Brett's her uncle, but it's like her shtick is she's a 5-time champion like her uncle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or she's got a fake chin beard, so she strokes it a lot, even though she cosplays her family a lot. But it's just kind of like it's so one note. We feel like Charlotte is capable of so much more, but they refuse to evolve her because it's not just her. Because I've heard Charlotte Flair in interviews even hint that it's just kind of like how they position her. And how can she argue? You're going to make me win? Oh, this is crap. Don't push me. She's obviously happy to be pushed because, it's work. And, but the presentation, I wish that she would do what Roman Reigns did. It's like, enough is enough. I want to take control of my character. Paul will help me with the promos and with direction of the storyline. No, because with Roman Reigns, I read the from Paul Heyman that the dog food feud with Baron Corbin was the catalyst for him to say, nah, I need to change things around here. This is not it for me.
Oh, shocker. Someone got tired of being in a feud with Baron Corbin.
I knew the moment I said Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin's still the last man to pin Roman Reigns one-on-one.
Continue.
I was going to say that. Okay. Yeah, Charlotte Flair, we wish that they did more with her, evolve her as a character. But yeah, it's funny. On Raw, Rhea has no one to face. Charlotte could have used her entitlement to go to Raw and demand a rematch because she's due a rematch and we would have been fine with that.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Anyway, we'll move on, but there's a lot of feelings about Charlotte Flair that frustrate me. And then John Cena is a very good comparable. Karrion Kross and Scarlett faced AJ Styles and Michin. AJ Styles and Michin had a cool entrance. They did a real nice, well-timed duos entrance. I liked it.
And also, Michin had a hoodie which was kind of similar as a take of AJ Styles' hoodie. So when they did their post together, they both took off their hoods at the same time. It was cool.
I enjoyed it. So this was again a short match, and AJ. It was the classic mixed tag rules thing where it's difficult to really build the psychology there because you can never 2-on-1 anybody in this match, and Scarlett's not really a regular wrestler either, so there wasn't a lot of work between she and
wrestled in
Michin.
the indies, guys, but yeah, they won't let her do much in the ring though.
It's just there's not a lot there. People aren't going to be into it. They don't know what her moves are and such.
That's sad because, sorry to cut you off, but Ronda Rousey, she got over because she did stuff in the mixed tag. They can do it, but they refuse to do it because it's TV time remaining.
Yeah. This, however, led to AJ Styles hitting the Styles Clash on Karrion Kross, appearing to get the win, but Scarlett pulled him by the hair, got him off of that thing, and Michin kind of brawled with her to the outside. Karrion Kross locked in the cross jacket, and AJ Styles was fighting, and then Karrion Kross hit a new finish. It was like a pump handle slam
F5,
mixed with like an F5. It was a cool move, and Karrion Kross won. Karrion Kross beat AJ Styles.
He needed to at some point because he was going to be known as the new eater of pins. Spooky promo, TikTok. Eat a pin. Spooky promo. Eat a pin.
Yeah.
Tarot card. Spooky promo. Eat a pin. So at some point, you roll your eyes. You were like, this guy again who never wins. Because I was trying to console Tempest about the results because AJ Styles coming out from being in the finals for Night of Champions, right? In the mind of many that are not convinced or they don't see Karrion Kross where management want him to be. So for them, it's a step down. So for him to lose in the mixed tag match, I was saying to Tempest, number one, Scarlett got involved. Number two, Scarlett trying to seduce AJ. So there's a funny moment in the match where AJ took off his gloves and say, I'm married. That was funny. And then Scarlett got offended and she went to smack AJ, and that's when Michin got involved. But yeah, it was a mixed tag match. Possibly AJ may face Karrion again and get his win back. You just have to remember there was extenuating circumstances that prevented AJ from getting the victory because AJ would have probably have won against Karrion Kross. But Karrion Kross needs to be built up. These kinds of pinfalls go a long way for him because I think that Rey Mysterio feud actually did a lot more to damage him because he beat Drew McIntyre, who was once the ace of the company during the pandemic, and then he followed that up by losing to Rey convincingly. And then he won the second match, but I don't think anyone remembers that because Rey was feuding with Dominic. So yeah, so Karrion Kross has been the afterthought on the main roster, so they need to build him up somehow. And he's going into great shape as well. If you've seen his Instagram, he talks about his body transformation. So good on the guy for getting where he needed to be.
Sure. I just...
TikTok!
I'm over it, though.
TikTok.
I do think the damage has been done, at least for me, watching. And we were sat here being like, ooh, this SmackDown reshuffle, the draft and everything has left us with like, ooh, there's a number of really cool like potential challengers for Roman Reigns. And like, I think AJ Styles was probably very near the top of that list. And now here he is just losing to Karrion Kross. And that to me does not make sense when, in theory, you need more challengers for Roman Reigns after this Usos thing is done for the summer at least. And I guess you have time to build AJ back up, and one loss isn't going to kill him, but, like, I don't know. I would not be booking Karrion Kross to be beating AJ Styles. Even if he's going to beat him again in a third match or anything like that. I don't know why they're feuding. Yeah, the tarot cards just said that Karrion Kross needs to feud with AJ Styles this time as opposed to last time when it was Shinsuke Nakamura.
And he lost.
Yeah. I don't know. It does nothing for me. This guy, this character, these matches, blah.
Okay, but you're very good at booking alternatives. What would you do with a Karrion Kross if you're tasked with making him interesting? What is it that's missing that you yourself would like to see different? Even people, please comment on the comment section and let us know. If you're not a fan of Karrion Kross, let us know how you would improve the character, because he hasn't been clicking since he's come back. It's been quite awkward because in the beginning it was like the narrative was Vince put him in a stupid outfit. That's why he didn't get over. He lost to Jeff Hardy, who was NXT champion. But now is it because Jeff Hardy lost? Is it a kind of thing that is quite hard? First impressions are key, right? Is it quite hard to get over the fact that this guy was in the gimp mask?
No, I think he just sucks. I think that Drew feud sucked. I think there were enough matches and enough segments like the Fireball that just did not work, and enough that has exposed him to the point where people just don't care.
Did you ever watch him in Impact Wrestling?
Not a ton. I watched a lot of him in NXT. But to answer your question,
yes, sir,
in terms of how I would do things differently, and this is something that I've thought of for precisely 20 seconds, so bear with me. But I would probably do something to, again, accentuate his positives and hide his negatives. And what are his negatives? Mostly wrestling. The wrestling side of things is not his strongest suit. His positives are his look. His style is still like a dominant style. So I would maybe look to have him be something of like the psychological character that he was early on in the year when he was going and talking to Ray and everything. Have him be hidden out in the back and have him be kind of like the monster for hire. If people want to go and just like slide him some money, they don't want to do long business with him, they don't want him to be in their group, nothing like that, because they don't trust him, he's dangerous. You just slide him some money and be like, he needs taken care of. We take care of Rey Mysterio. Have the Judgment Day, pass him some money and take out Rey Mysterio. And it's after a match, and the lights go dark, and the music starts and everything, and you know that you are effed. You are absolutely screwed. And he can come down, he can kill whoever is being paid off to kill, and then he's gone. And that's it. And maybe you then leave that for, like, further down the line, like, that person doesn't forget, or there's a score to settle or something like that. But you don't need to see a series of matches with this guy, where all the matches are kind of the same, and he's just not that impressive or smooth. I think that would help his aura a lot more, where he can still beat people up without then having to lose that match.
Right.
That's just an idea that I've had off the top of my head.
It's kind of like how they booked Kane in the beginning of just kind of taking people out before he had his first match.
Exactly, but like more psychological rather than like slasher villain. Something like that. I don't know.
There you go. I appreciate you sharing that with us.
I appreciate you. Backstage, Cameron Grimes is about to be interviewed, and he's attacked by Baron Corbin.
I enjoyed it, by the way, guys. It's good that they're trying to give Corbin some edge back. That's what they've been doing at NXT. They're trying to make him, serious again. That's what I miss. I miss Lone Wolf Baron Corbin. I miss his last theme that he had before he became king. That guy is 6'6". Sometimes it boggles my mind when WWE got access to big impressive guys and they should book them like monsters and they don't.
Mm-hmm.
That annoys me. And Cameron Grimes, I'm just happy to be here. I got no personality. NXT Cameron Grimes, one of the most entertaining guys. They used to give him segments in the ring. This is a guy that was a swamp badass who then became a millionaire because he was involved in that GameSpot situation where he...
Stonks.
Yes. He got some money out of it and he became a millionaire, and he had an entertaining feud with LA Knight, a feud that I would argue made both guys as great character performers. But then, weirdly, when NXT 2.0 became a thing, they said, this Cameron Grimes guy, what is he? Oh, he looks ugly. Trim his beard and, trim his hair. And what is the motivations? So what happened was they turned him into a Dolph Ziggler-esque kind of babyface, very much earnest. Someone, I lost. I'm doing this for the people. They even mentioned the fact that, Cameron Grimes' father used to be a wrestler. So Cameron Grimes' father, unfortunately, passed away a few years ago. So they start using that for sympathy. And I'm like, I understand that you want to add the character motivation, but the character he had previously, it was a millionaire who, because he was so entertaining as a heel, he got over as a babyface. Yeah, in their mind, a millionaire character can't be a babyface. So they stripped that kind of aspect of his character off. Then what did you have? So they turned him into this character that he kind of is right now, happy to be here. What I'm trying to say is there's more to him. This guy is very talented in the ring. He can go, and he also can go on the microphone, and he's a great character when asked upon. Do more of Cameron Grimes, please, because like you said, Pretty Deadly, off to the races, they're Money in the Bank. Cameron Grimes, they should be doing more with him. Is Cameron Grimes even in the Money in the Bank? He should be in the Money in the Bank, but they might give what's his face, Logan Paul, someone's spot in the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I think you've said everything that I'm feeling. That and just like this rivalry is just spinning its tires. Like it's the most lazy booked. Like, oh, I'm gonna attack you backstage, and then the next week I'm gonna attack you backstage. It's whatever.
Okay, you know what?
I care not.
I was complaining about how Austin Theory has no challenges. Cameron Grimes could be that guy.
Yes, I feel like we've been saying this for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Cameron Grimes could be that guy, and he wins.
Yeah.
How about that? What about caving in 3 seconds or 5 seconds? Create a record and boom, he give him the title. Do the Omen Warrior honky tonk man. Just surprise victory. You got a new champion and off to the races.
I'm here for it. The last segment we have to talk about here is Rey Mysterio coming out and saying that forming the LWO is his most is the accomplishment he's most proud of, and welcomes Santos Escobar down to the ring and says he's going to win Money in the Bank. Santos comes out. He speaks a lot in Spanish. He says he loves Rey Mysterio. He idolized Rey Mysterio, and at Money in the Bank, he's going to win that match for Rey, for his familia, for his raza, for his family, for his people, and for all the WWE universe that have a dream. This was a real, rah babyface promo.
I know. Again, Santos is good at delivery. Like, you believe that how he delivers it feels like it's coming straight from the guy's heart. Santos Escobar is a great performer. He can make that work. The issue is, what made him interesting was the cool Lucha Emperor. Everyone in LWO had to pretend. Now they have to pretend they don't come from a good lifestyle. They don't own vans that kidnap people. They're not that people anymore. They're not people that chill on yachts and have feuds with mobs. They're not these happy Mexican guys or happy Latino guys. Happy to be here. Rey Mysterio's a legend. Woo! This segment was the first time I think I know where this storyline is going. I said to you, do you think all of this is going to lead to Santos Escobar turning on Rey Mysterio and then feuding at WrestleMania? Or will WrestleMania be the beginning? Because a part of me feel like we're very nostalgia-based. Someone will go, let's recreate Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio feud again. When they were tag team champions and then Eddie turns on Rey because they lost too much. I can see them hopefully thinking, Santos could be a top guy. Put him with Rey. Because it's true. By putting Santos with Rey, it exposed fans who still weren't sure about Legado. That never watch NXT. Who are these people? By associating them with Rey Mysterio is smart, because now you get to know them more, spend time with Rey Mysterio. So by the time Santos does eventually turn on Rey Mysterio, it's going to mean a lot more, because it's very much lovey-dovey. I love you, I respect you. And I was like, ooh, it's going to lead to a feud. That's the only reason why they would be doing this. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm hoping as well.
I think that match would be fantastic. If that's like a WrestleMania match, I would very much love to see that, because Rey Mysterio hasn't been given a ton of chances to have giant blow-away WrestleMania matches. A lot of them are really short. He had his match with Dominic, which may be his best WrestleMania match. His world title match got cut for time. The Intercontinental title match was really short. The U.S. title match was really short. The Cruiserweight Open Challenge thingy at WrestleMania 20 was short, or at least his involvement was. The Matt Hardy match was short. He hasn't had that many chances to really have a blow-away match at WrestleMania, but I think the Santos Escobar match could be his best.
Do you think the Cody match was short? Was it like 8 minutes?
No, but it was good. It was the second match on the show. I think it was a really fun, solid match, but it wasn't going to steal the show by any means. I think this match has absolutely the potential to steal a WrestleMania.
And it's going to make Santos, because we know that Rey Mysterio is a very giving wrestler. So, yeah, Santos is one of those guys. I keep reiterating, there's a theme in WWE. They got a lot of great wrestlers in their late 30s, early 40s. So back in the days, Vince would be like, ugh, you're a commentator, or, you're a coach. But when it's era where it seems like Triple H is giving people past their 40s their flowers, I was convinced that Bobby Lashley, because of his age, they wouldn't give him a run, and he's had a great run. So I'm hoping guys like LA Knight, Santos Escobar, who's turning 40 next year, will get an opportunity. Damian Priest, I think, is already turning 40. He's 40. He's probably 41 now. He seems to be having a great renaissance on the main roster. So I'm hoping those guys in the late 30s, early 40s get the flowers due before it's too late, man. Because once you get to a certain age, the injuries pile up.
Hell yeah. And then the last thing on SmackDown was the main event, Jey Uso super kicking Roman Reigns segment that we've already talked about. So overall, there was some good stuff on this show. Like the match, I didn't even talk about LA Knight in the match.
That was me, because I hijacked with my points. It's my fault. Sorry.
Well, I mean, the Santos Escobar Rey Mysterio stuff, I think, was the point of all this. LA Knight and Santos Escobar had another short match. This was the build up for the ladder match moment on the show, and LA Knight tried to roll up Santos Escobar just like he did with Montez Ford, where he holds onto the ropes.
And Austin, I'll say Austin Creed, but and Xavier Woods as well.
Yeah.
Do you think it's like a throw? Because every time LA Knight's in the match, they give him the same kind of finish.
Yeah.
Is it like a thing? Is that a thing? Is that a trope?
I don't know. I don't know how much thought they put into this sort of thing. Maybe a lot, maybe a little. Not sure. But Santos Escobar rolled through, got the pin with his own roll-up, and then after the match, LA Knight was beating up Santos until Rey Mysterio ran him off. So that was it. You didn't get to see any of the other people that are going to be on the Money in the Bank match. Like no Pete Dunne, no Butch. He wasn't out there for the tag gauntlet, nothing like that. So it was these two guys. Maybe that is telegraphing somebody who possibly is going to win. Maybe one of these two. I don't know. I really feel like a lot of people in this Money in the Bank match could win. But regardless, that was the end of SmackDown. Can't believe I forgot a match. Whatever.
No, you didn't. You didn't. I didn't let you finish. That's what it was.
It's fine. Don't you blame yourself. Jey Uso super kicks Roman Reigns. Huzzah. Before we get out of here,
yes, sir,
we have some very important people to give a shout out to, those being our $25 and above Pledgehammers over at patreon.com/WrestleTalk. You can get your own custom wrestling nickname read out on a show just like this by subscribing at the $25 and above tier, much like these ones. So a big shout out to Le Meilleur au Monde, Links the Sun. Yeah.
Pick him up, Loot Sponge.
Yeah. Lord Chris Santo. Yeah.
Too lot to handle, Lottie McCulloch.
Yeah. Manipulating Manny Umaria. Yeah.
How'd you like them apples, Marcel Durer?
Yeah. Have a glass of sherry, Martel J. Simmons. Yeah.
He's got 2 first names, Matt Howard.
Yeah. The real boss, Matt Robinson. Yeah.
Max Kurt Wallander Wallen.
Yeah. Michael Jensen Radio. Yeah.
Michael Mark for life. Plowman.
Yeah. A big thank you to all of our pledge hammers, but especially to our $25 and above pledge hammers. We thank all of you. There is plenty of content over at patreon.com/WrestleTalk, including the full uncut and extended versions of No Holds Board, new show over on partsFUNknown, where we play board games being made about wrestling. Not wrestling board games, but real board games with wrestling questions. It's a ton of fun, and I love doing that show. So make sure you go and see the full uncut version of those shows, as well as, and you can see this right now, a week's early access to next week's episode, where we play Wits and Wagers. It's a very good time, so make sure you check that out. Sat, thank you very much for joining me on another edition of the SmackDown podcast here on the WrestleTalk Podcast channel.
House of the Black Mask. The house always wins. We're out of time.
We're out of time. We will see you next week, but make sure you check out our live reactions tonight for the first episode of AEW Collision with Ollie Davis seeing his hero, CM Punk, once again returning to our screens. Oh my God, maybe that means the CM Punk news is going to stop. Probably not.
No.
Make sure you check us out. We'll see you next time.